Man killed in alleged shootout with soldiers, firearm recovered. A man was shot dead and a firearm along with several rounds of ammunition were seized during a confrontation with members of the Jamaica Defense Force JDF at Bread Lane in Kingston on Sunday night. The police have identified the deceased as 33-year-old Kenneth Brown, also known as Dangles, from Bread Lane and Crooked River in Clarendon. Reports indicated that around 10:49 p.m., members of the JDF were on patrol in the service vehicle when they approached the intersection of Charles Street and Bread Lane, where several people had gathered. The soldiers allegedly exited their vehicle when a man dressed in an orange shirt ran into a nearby premises. The soldiers entered the premises where the man reportedly retrieved a firearm from an appliance and pointed it at one of the lawmen. The soldiers subsequently fired 3 rounds in the man's direction, causing him to fall to the ground. The police were later called to the scene, where a Taurus GX4 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 3mm cartridges was reportedly retrieved. A bag the now deceased man allegedly had in his possession was also searched and found to contain 1.45 magazine with 9.45 cartridges, 1 Pixton wireless radio, and other contraband. 2 men detained at scene at fatal police operation. 2 suspicious individuals were taken into custody by the police at the dwelling where one other gang member, Leroy Gibbons, and 2 other associates were killed in a joint police operation on Sunday morning. According to Commander SSP Hopton Nicholson, the men were unable to account for their presence at the scene when Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake and a team of officers visited the dwelling. Nicholson stated that the men would be processed to determine if they were involved in any criminal activities. Geddes and his associates, Akil Hill, 21, of Seaford St. Thomas, who was wanted for arson and malicious destruction of property, and Jervis Barrett, 33, of Trial Heights, were killed after allegedly engaging the security forces in a gunfight. 1 officer was injured during the operation. 3 firearms were recovered. Area 5 police ramp up efforts to capture wanted men and restore order. Police in Area 5 have ramped up efforts to tackle crime and violence to restore law and order. One of the initiatives is targeting wanted persons and persons of interest in the area, which consists of St. Thomas, sections of St. Andrew, and St. Catherine. Head of Area 5, Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP Christopher Phillips, says the area has been reaping results from their targeted operations. He stated that Zimmer Gates, otherwise called Zim, one of St. Catherine's most wanted men, was fatally shot when he and 2 others allegedly challenged officers in a shootout. The other deceased were identified as 33-year-old Travis Barrett of Trial Heights, St. Catherine, and 21-year-old Akil Hayes of Seaford, St. Thomas. ACP Phillips have appealed to individuals who are listed on the wanted list to report to the police.
So we have strengthened the intel apparatus as also the investigative thrust. The results so far is very good. We have situated some teams around wanted persons of interest with the establishment of a AFAT, and we have joined the North and South Special Operations team. And so these teams are going right across Area 5. So the intensity is not just in St. Catherine North, but right across Area 5. There are some communities now that we have close watch on. We talk about places like Cassava Peace up there in St. Andrew North, Grand Spen area, up in Lawrence Tavern area. In St. Thomas, we are also watching Seafort and Yallas and those other communities. So the teams are fully situated. Well, of course, we would make another appeal to persons who find themselves on the wanted list to surrender peacefully. We would prefer that, and we are again appealing for that. That is why we have Wanted Wednesday. We publish these persons who are on the wanted list. We would appeal to family members to try and talk these persons into turning themselves in to the police so that they can have their day in court.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says legislation must be strengthened to ensure better governance of utility companies. Lawmakers are to strengthen the legislation that governs the operations of utility companies to ensure that customers are protected, particularly during emergencies. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made this statement in Kingston on Monday morning. He said the process will commence shortly. His comments come as many Jamaicans are still without electricity following the passage of Hurricane Beryl on July 3rd. Prior to the directive, the Prime Minister and Energy Minister Darrell Valls have called on OR to apply pressure to the JPS to ensure that power is restored quickly. Speaking during a disbursement of checks to Jamaicans whose houses were destroyed during Hurricane Beryl, Mr. Holness reiterates his dissatisfaction with JPS restoration efforts. Noting that he was set to meet with JPS Monday afternoon, Mr. Holness said legislators will work to strengthen the legislative framework for utility operators.
I have tried not to speak too much on this matter because JPS is a private company. They do, however, perform an indispensable and most important public function, which is regulated under law by an independent utilities regulator, which essentially takes the government out of the regulatory space, but it does not take away the legislative authority of the government. And what we are seeing in terms of the return of electricity to some areas of the country, it is not being done in a way for which the government is satisfied. In fact, we are deeply dissatisfied by the way in which electricity is being returned to some affected communities. And it does cause me to take a second look at the legislative framework which governs this new space of how utilities are delivered and regulated. It would appear to me that there needs to be tighter regulation, and it falls on the legislators now to start to look at the instruments that govern how the utility operates and how the utility operator operates to ensure that the customer is protected, particularly in the time of an emergency and a disaster. And I want to just make that known publicly here that that process will begin shortly.
St. Andrew mechanic sentenced for drug trafficking, financial crimes. The Financial Investigations Division (FID) says it was successful securing the plenary penalty order in the Supreme Court against St. Andrew mechanic for his involvement in drug trafficking activities. Lorenzo Roy reportedly benefited financially to the tune of approximately $2 million. He was apprehended on August 15, 2019 by officers of the Jamaica Constabulary Force Narcotics Division during an operation at Premier Plaza in St. Andrew, where he was reportedly found in possession of a significant quantity of cocaine concealed in a black knapsack inside a white Mitsubishi Lanza. Roy was subsequently charged with possession of cocaine, dealing in cocaine, trafficking cocaine, and conspiracy to traffic cocaine. On July 24, Justice C.T. Powell issued a penalty order under the Section 53B of the Proceeds of Crime Act 2007, requiring Reed to pay $2 million as a penalty. The payment schedule includes an initial payment of $250,000 in July 2024, another $250,000 by August 30, 2024, and monthly installment of $41,666 until the full amount is settled. According to a release from the FID on Monday, this conviction and penalty demonstrate the organization's unwavering commitment to working with law enforcement partners like the JCF to combat crime. We are dedicated to ensuring that those who engage in illegal activities face the full consequences of their action, including forfeiting any ill-gotten gains. The FID has since urged the public to report any suspicious or criminal activities to them or their local law enforcement partners. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.